Hello, everyone. My name is David Blezard. I am giving this talk today from one of the classrooms at the University of New Hampshire because I figured this was an appropriate venue to use, given that my work is in higher education, in technology supporting higher education, and really everything that I do, everything I work on is really in support of what happens in this kind of a room. It is about the actual learning that goes on. I am based at the University of New Hampshire. I have been there for a number of years, and most of the work I'm going to talk about today focuses on things that were specific to UNH. UNH is the lead institution for the University System of New Hampshire. It's a Research One institution, about 15,000 students. But I'm now part of an IT organization that has been consolidated across all of USNH. So Keene State College, Plymouth State University, and Granite State College, the other schools that are part of the University System of New Hampshire, are also areas that I now do work and have responsibility. This is a chart of the interest in the term DevOps as measured by Google search over time. The term DevOps was coined in October of 2009, so that's where the chart starts. And it goes up to a peak of 100%, the highest level of interest that Google ever measured. And you can see that August, September 2018 is about the 50% mark. That is where over the last 2 years, we have had a doubling of interest in DevOps, at least as measured by Google searches. I'm showing you this to have you compare it to this next chart. This is a month-by-month number of items that have been posted on the website for EDUCAUSE about DevOps. EDUCAUSE is the premier organization for IT in higher education, all about the uses of technology, both in running the organization as well as technology in the classroom and in the learning environment. While this trend has gone up over time, it is certainly not going up at the same rate that it is across the broader technology spectrum as measured by Google. We hit a high of 5 items one month. That was huge. And I gotta honestly say that many of these dots here are me and things that I've done, presentations I've given, talks I've been involved with, because I've been involved in trying to promote DevOps ideas into the higher education space, but it really hasn't connected very well. And I think one of the reasons for that is the way that DevOps is often marketed. If I think back to 2016, when I and some colleagues first went to a DevOps event down in Boston, we were hearing stories about how a 70-person worldwide developer team all got together and on the same page and used continuous integration and pulled all their work together in that way. And I'm saying, when I have 2 people working on a project, that's huge. We've got to get out the door first. If you don't release your code tomorrow, your competitor's going to do it instead, and you got to beat them to market. So you better not just release once a day, but twice a day, or 5 times a day, or 10 times a day. And I'm just like, this doesn't make sense to me, right? Is there competition in higher education? Sure, but it's not the same thing. Right, this doesn't make sense, right? We're also not, a cloud-native organizational structure by default, although things are certainly shifting in that way. What is going on in higher education, though, is a lot of transformation in other ways. And this is another snapshot from EDUCAUSE of the term digital transformation. Digital transformation, I was going to make a chart of that one too, but when I actually saw the numbers here, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time, because the fact that there are over 2,000 presentations and over 1,500 articles and so on and so forth makes the point pretty easily that, yeah, there's a lot more interest and a lot more discussion around digital transformation and what that means. So what is digital transformation? Well, it's defined as a series of deep and coordinated cultural, workforce, and technology shifts, and these lead to new educational opportunities, operating models, transforming an institution's operations, strategic direction, and value. There's a lot of things here that connect with DevOps right away. We're talking about culture. We're talking about technology. We're talking about value delivered by the organization and how we do things. So there are definitely some similarities and connections. And for all of you who are DevOps technology companies, DevOps tool providers, DevOps service providers, if you want to reach higher education customers, you need to talk to us in our language, and this actually works much better than just sort of talking about DevOps and go fast and go quickly and get stuff out the door and so on and so forth. There are plenty of challenges in higher education, though. As I was putting this presentation together, this was an email that came out from our chancellor for the university system in New Hampshire, went out to all employees. And it was just so spot on the things I wanted to relay that I just figured I would copy paste and use this here. We are feeling the effects of a baby bust that happened about 20 years ago, a decline in the population in the United States and the number of births. So there are fewer 18-year-olds coming into traditional college environments this year than there were last year, and there will be fewer next year. And if you happen to be in the Northeast of the United States like we are, it's even worse around here. There are changes in terms of what is the value of higher education, and that being discussed. How do we deliver education? Do we have to be in a classroom like this, or can we be online? And if we're going to be online, what does that mean? And should we be teaching in the same ways, in the same modalities, in the same topics, or should we be focused more on making people ready for business and marketplace needs for workforce? Competition is going up, and the funding is not. New Hampshire ranks 50th in state funding to higher education. And if we doubled the amount of money that the New Hampshire state government gives to higher education, we would still be 50th. So that isn't likely to change anything anytime soon. And then you put on top of this COVID-19. We had to close down in the spring like everybody else. A lot of students went home. When they went home, they weren't on campus using the dining halls and the residence halls and other services and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of money that had to be paid back. So really big challenges that